Hello, N4H&H here, and it's contest weekend. I thought, wow, what a great opportunity to put the FTdx10 into the mix. After all, it is rated number 3 in the world for selectivity, bested only by the FTdx10, which is its big brother, and the Flex 6700. And realize this FTdx10 is essentially half of a FTdx101 minus the VC tune, the variable pre-selector, which few radios have that anyway. FTdx101, FTdx5000, the 9000, and the IC7610 from ICOM. But essentially, you've got a bandpass filter which is fixed, so 40-meter band passes the 40-meter band. The variable pre-selectors are even more narrow than the bandwidth, so they move up and down within the band, so you can knock bleed over noise down from up and down the band and center up where you're trying to listen. So ZS6 Charlie Yankee from South Africa is in there contesting. But you hear all that noise? I mean, they're in here, half kc away in some cases. So I'm going to narrow the filter here to 1800. That knocks some of it out, knocked most of it out. Yep. And then I want to show you something about this. And by the way, I've got digital noise reduction enabled at 3. Here's without it. The digital noise reduction in the FTdx10 is mighty. Until this radio, I would say the FTdx5000's digital noise reduction was the best I'd ever set in front of. And I'm not saying the FTdx10 is better, but it is as good. No watery effect like you get a lot of times with digital noise reduction. And of course, if you are experiencing that, it just means you're overloading the digital noise reduction. Work the noise from the front end in, like I've always taught. Attenuation, IPO, roll the RF gain back before you turn on the digital noise reduction, and that'll help minimize that watery artifact. But this radio is not doing it. It's just amazing. Yaesu has updated the firmware in the radios related to DSP, and in particular the DNR, the digital noise reduction. FT891 has even gotten an upgrade. I haven't installed it yet, but I'm looking forward to doing that. And I'm sure the 101s that are shipping right now probably have this latest firmware, because again, the FTdx10 is based on the 101. But hey, the 5000 DSP, the digital noise reduction, to me is still right in there with these guys. I'll switch down to the 5000 here in a minute or two. But let's listen to ZS6 Charlie Yankee. So we're at 1800 hertz. Yeah, we can't get too wide because of all the contesters. So the other thing I want to show you is I've got the external speaker, the SP30 up there. And this is Joel's radio, my friend Joel, KC4WZB. He's loaned to me for these videos, of course. And those of you who have been watching the series know about that. And that speaker has such a big resonance cavity compared to the internal speaker on the radio that I had to lower the bass gain. This radio, if you go into the menu, radio setting, mode SSB, you've got 3-band EQ for the receive. And when you're running off the internal speaker, it's not as full sounding, so I boosted the bass gain. With the external speaker, I normally have it down here at 0 or maybe even -1 or 2, because it just gets so boomy and muddy sounding when it's boosted. But since I'm running so narrow here with my filter width, I'm running it up to 10 to restore some of that fullness to their audio. So when he talks again, I'll show you. So it's just helping a little bit out. I mean, we're so narrow, you know, we're not dipping down much into the low end, but you know, I thought I'd give it a little bit of help. And again, normal conditions where you're running the filter at default. Yeah, it's just too gnarly there. You can't hear anything. So we'll go back to 1800. I'm gonna have to use shift a little bit too. Now remember, you narrow the IF bandwidth, and then you can move with the shift. You can move up and down. Left accentuates lows. Right accentuates highs. So you hear that bleed over? That high metallic sound, we want to go low. Now, where that station is causing the interference changes according to whether it's lower sideband or upper sideband. Let me explain. If the high-pitched metallic sound is coming in and you're on 20 meters, then that station is above what frequency you're on. If you're getting the high-pitched metallic sound on 40 meters when you're on lower sideband, then the station that's interfering is below you. It just reverses between upper side and lower side. Don't worry about trying to remember that. All you have to know is if the interference is high pitched, go counterclockwise. If the interference is low pitched, go clockwise. They're not in there right now. Oh, there they are. So negative 60 and 1800's width has taken care of the QR Mary. And there's still a little bit in there. Negative 120. Now I could narrow even more, but yeah, we can still understand him at 1500. But you know, it's not hi-fi. We're just trying to pull out our station. But, you know, it's a combination of how narrow you go and then where you place your shift. I like the way he sounds better at 1800. There's that interference. We're going to have to be at about negative 120 on the shift. Okay, I'm going to go down to the 5000. One 1.8 kilohertz bandwidth. Shifts at negative 120 already. Digital noise reduction at 3. I don't have the RF gain rolled back on the 5000 because the noise floor is sitting at 0 anyway with the 6 dB of attenuation. You know, when I tried the 5000 out a year and a half ago in the store, I walked in there, you know, I'll be honest with you, I walked in there to buy my dream rig, the Kenwood TS990S, but I saw a 5000 sitting there, and then I decided, well, I'm just going to try every radio in the store. And from all the big three, and I kept coming back to the 5000 because of the lower noise floor. At first I thought the 5000 couldn't hear, and what it was, but then when signals would come in, they'd be just as strong on the 5000 as they were on any of the other radios, but with less noise in the background. So it's just a nice, quiet receiver in general. I won't pan up to it, but I'll switch to the FTdx10 while we're listening here.
What's the number?
FTdx10.
033, thank you.
Back to the 5000. Now I'm using the SM5000 station monitor, which has 2 speakers in it, and of course the band scope. That's option. It's an option for the 5000. So if you want a fish finder, as it were, you know, a scope on your base station, and you decide to buy a 5000, you will need to buy the SM5000 station monitor to get the speaker and the scope. Speakers. Since it's simultaneous dual receive, it'll put what you're hearing on VFO-A in one speaker, what you're hearing on VFO-B in another speaker, if you happen to be using both receivers at the same time. Now we're getting some QR Mary that's low-pitched. And there's the high-pitch. So we've got stations stacked up on above and below this frequency. So you kind of, sometimes you just have to pick your poison, which one you want to deal with. But I find the higher pitch metallic one more annoying, so I'll go negative with the shift and deal with it. Now, the 5000 has a built-in variable pre-selector called VRF. I'm not using it right now. I actually have the external version of that called the Mu Tuner, which you can purchase. I'm going to turn it off right quick and purchase additionally. And it's even tighter than the one that's built in. But these variable pre-selectors can help combat the QR Mary and the QRN. And I've shot videos about that in the past. I don't have it enabled right now because the 10 doesn't have one. Now think about that. These variable pre-selectors help out your selectivity, and yet the FTdx10 is number 3 in the world for selectivity, and it doesn't have one. That's how good the DSP and the SDR chip in it is. Now remember, it's a super heterodyne front end, then a DSP. Then a SDR, and then DSP. And like them or not, Yaesu has the best DSP. I just haven't found a radio with better DSP. So I just turned on the VRF, the pre-selector. If you look at the scope, you'll see the noise floor drop. And yes, there's a little bit of insertion loss, but you'll also notice it's narrowing the bandpass even more. Let me turn it off. Watch the band edges. Watch the upper area and the lower area. See those signals? Watch them when I turn this on. And off. And on. So it's just narrowing the bandpass even more so, and that's why it has to be variable, so you can move it up and down the band. Can you see as I move there, as it sweeps? So every little bit helps here when you're dealing with QR Mary, and I even use this to fight noise. I may intentionally not center it up on who I'm listening to, but move it away from them, plus or minus, to knock the noise floor down to where the only thing left is them, like that. But let me disengage that. And I'm just using the attenuator now. Let me turn the attenuator off and let you watch the band scope now. You'll see it. It's more evident now with the attenuator off when I turn on and off the VRF. And the Mu Tuner, I'll re-engage it, is just VRF on steroids. Let me turn that on. Reset button here to center up. The Mu Tuner will actually track the VFO, so once you put it where you want in relation to the frequency you're on, it'll just, the stepper motors inside the Mu Tuners will track the VFO movement. But I've got it just centered up right now. Let me turn it off. And you can hear the difference, and you can see it on the screen. So it's narrowing that bandpass. Now I'm going to turn it off and go back to attenuation so we're matching the FTdx10. And now I'll switch back up to the FTdx10. I'm having to change my shutter speed because of the display on the FTdx10. I want it to be clear for you guys. So, you know, you be the judge. It looks to me like both radios are handling the QR Mary quite well. And the QRN too. Now I do have the RF gain rolled back a little bit on the 10. Let me show you. There's wide open. Now I'm running digital noise reduction at a lower setting. I could run it higher. See? Rather than lowering the RF gain. The audio still sounds good. And you can go up to 15. Long press. Let's go back to maybe 4. And then I'll roll the RF gain back a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to leave you with the 5000. We'll go back to the 5000. And change that shutter speed. Back to the 5000. I'm going to move its digital noise reduction to 4.
Big one, 5996.
Everything else is the same. Oh, let's see. Let me see what shift was up here.
Good night.
120. So now they're equal. Boy, somebody's moved in close.
Good evening, 5997.
They're 1K up, 1K down.
Delta X-ray again. Delta X-ray.
Whiskey 7 Delta X-ray.
Whiskey 7 Delta X-ray 5999.
Thank you for the 99. You are 5969. 069.
So back up to the FTdx10. Thought I'd extend this just a little bit since some other stations came in. So again, we can narrow even more to try to knock out more of that QR Mary. So I'm on 1500 now. And let's go back to the 5000 and do the same thing.
Okay, Kilo 9, Oscar Mike 59101.
There's 1.5.
95, thank you, good luck. Zulu Kilo 6, Charlie Yankee.
Both radios are quite good. This would be a hard choice. You know, I favor the 5000. Comfortable with it. I like the knobs. I like the ergonomics. I can live without the beautiful color screen and the waterfall. The band scope is what I mostly would use just to look up and down the band for signals. So it's a matter of personal taste, I guess. I think, you know, the receivers are neck and neck. And even in dealing with QR Mary, I mean, this FTdx10 is rated 3rd in the world, but this 5000 is hanging right with it. And I just think the 5000 is pleasant to listen to. So I hope you found the video helpful and informative. I thank you for watching, and thank you Patreons for helping me keep the channel going. And if you'd like to become a Patreon, I'll put the address below here. And also, encourage you to please, if you like the video, click the like button. And if you're not a subscriber already to the channel, please do so. That helps our standing with YouTube. And of course, if you'll click the bell, you'll be notified when I upload another video in the future. So been doing the series here on the FTdx10, and I'm not finished with that yet. We've still got some more to explore, but in the meantime, I hope all is well with you and you're staying safe. And this is N4 H&H saying 73.